Some people keep secrets. Me, if I see it, I say it. If I feel it, I say it. That's just who I am.
Good morning, Linus. How is your wife?
My wife? Charity is amazing, very caring, very beautiful, and...
Okay, that is enough.
Linus had always believed that silence was overrated. Linus walked the street with a light bounce in his step, greeting almost everyone he passed. Horns blared, vendors shouted, buses screeched to a stop, and Linus felt completely at home in the noise. To him, life was meant to be spoken aloud. Some people kept secrets, but Linus did not see the point. If he noticed something, he said it. If he felt something, he announced it. He believed honesty was a gift, one the world needed more of. He stopped at a roadside food stall to grab breakfast. "Good morning, Linus," the woman behind the stall said. "How is your wife?" Linus's face lit up immediately. "My wife? Charity is amazing, very caring, very beautiful, and..." The woman raised her hand quickly. Okay, that is enough." Linus laughed, paid for his food, and walked away, completely unaware that his words often traveled farther than he intended. At home, Charity was getting dressed for work. She moved with quiet grace, her expression calm but thoughtful. Linus watched her fondly. "Linus," she said without turning, "please remember what we discussed." He frowned playfully. "What did we discuss?" "Privacy, especially about our marriage." Linus waved his hand confidently. "Don't worry, I have everything under control." Charity paused and looked at him. She wanted to believe him, but experience had taught her otherwise. Later that afternoon, Linus met his best friend, Lucas, at their usual hangout. Lucas was loud, playful, and always looking for amusement. "So," Lucas said with a grin, "how is married life treating you?" Linus leaned in, lowering his voice as though that alone would make the words private. "My brother, my wife is incredible. That woman knows exactly what she's doing." Lucas burst into laughter. "You talk like you won a prize." Linus puffed his chest with pride. He did not notice how easily his admiration crossed into oversharing. That evening, Lucas walked Linus home. Charity opened the door to greet them. "Charity," Lucas said teasingly, "you must be very talented. Linus talks about you all the time." Charity's smile froze. "Talks about me how?" Linus felt his stomach drop. "He's joking," he said quickly. "Lucas jokes too much." Lucas laughed and waved goodbye, leaving an uncomfortable silence behind. Charity closed the door slowly and turned to her husband. "Do you discuss our private life with your friends?" "I was only praising you," Linus said defensively. "Praise without boundaries becomes disrespect," she replied, her voice controlled but clearly hurt. "I am your wife, not a public discussion." The argument that followed was chaotic, sharp, and painfully familiar. Words flew back and forth, some meant in frustration, others in jest, but all leaving marks. Eventually, Linus fell silent, realizing too late that his intentions did not erase the damage. That night, he brought Charity a cup of tea and sat beside her. "I talk too much," he admitted softly, "but I truly love you." Charity looked at him for a long moment. "I love you too," she said quietly. "I just want peace." They held each other, finding comfort in the familiarity of their love, even as unresolved tension lingered between them. A few days later, Linus was on his way to work when he noticed two men arguing fiercely on the street. One accused the other of refusing to pay back a debt. Voices rose, hands gestured wildly, and a small crowd gathered. Linus could not help himself. "Gentlemen," he said, stepping in, "shouting will not solve this." Both men turned to him sharply. "Who asked you?" one snapped. "I'm just trying to help," Linus replied. Moments later, regret chased him down the street. He ran, slipped, fell, and escaped with bruises and embarrassment. His desire to speak had once again put him in danger. That night, Charity cleaned his wound in silence. Tears filled her eyes as she walked. "Your words keep putting you in danger," she said. "One day it might be worse." Linus could not meet her gaze. "I didn't think before speaking," he murmured. The consequences did not end there. At work, his habit of oversharing cost him a small promotion. Private conversations he should have kept to himself spread quickly, and his supervisors lost trust in his discretion. Eventually, Linus and Charity sat in a counseling office, facing a truth they could no longer avoid. "Communication is powerful," the counselor said gently, "but silence is sometimes wisdom." Charity nodded, her exhaustion evident. Linus listened more carefully than he ever had before. One night at home, Charity finally said the words she had been holding back. "I don't regret marrying you, but I am tired." The sound of her honesty broke something inside Linus. He realized for the first time that his words were not harmless habits, but heavy burdens she carried with him. "I never realized how much damage I was causing," he said, his voice breaking. They sat together quietly, hands intertwined, learning that not every moment needed to be filled with sound. Some weeks later, Linus ran into Lucas again. "So," Lucas said with a mischievous grin, "how is Madame in private?" Linus paused. For once, he did not rush to speak. He smiled calmly. "My marriage is not a topic anymore." Lucas stared at him in surprise. That evening, Charity watched from the doorway as Linus cooked dinner, humming softly but saying little. "You're learning," she said with a small smile. "Slowly," Linus replied, "but sincerely." They laughed together, leaned into each other, and allowed the quiet to exist between them, not as distance, but as respect. Linus finally understood that not every thought needed a voice, and that love grew strongest where words were chosen wisely.